Friday.
Happy Friday, Eric.
Yeah, it's Friday the 26th.
Friday the
We're
26th.
in episode
We made it.
55.
It's an exciting one.
It is an exciting
It's an
one. That's
exciting one.
right.
We're Blueprint. We're talking about
We're
Blueprint.
talking about Blueprint. We're going to be recapping Blueprint today and, covering the news as usual. But why don't we start it off? Top of the news.
What's it? Top of the news. What do you have?
Nevada dropped their RealPage lawsuit. They, essentially settled. There was no wrongdoing admitted to, but they essentially settled and said they would make certain changes that they have already done in
Yeah.
past cases. So the allegations are, being settled.
Yeah, I think it's a big roar. This is all kind of whimpering out. I think we're going to see less and less news about it. There might be even cases or other kinds of things, but it's definitely smaller news. NMHC has some news too. They were, speaking of the government, were involved in two policy discussions just this week and also last week. One for the Federal Housing Committee and also the Treasury Roundtable. They were involved in some roundtables talking about the current and future role of GSE. Their goal is to really encourage the government to realize how important this is for the multifamily industry. And it's very specific to that niche line of business. So
I can appreciate that. I feel like you're foreshadowing me here with the roundtable discussion as well.
Yeah. Blueprint's all about some R's. We'll get to that. Roundtables is one of them. Speaking of R, Remen dropped something this week.
Yes, he did.
Did you
I
see
did.
it?
He dropped a.
I needed a magnifying glass, but I'm excited to dig into it.
Remen dropped a market map, and I did get a polite prod or from someone I know. But essentially, he was talking about all the comprehensive rental PropTech market map, the most
Mhm.
comprehensive map created. Over 1,100
Yeah.
companies were in here. And of course, I
Yeah.
got a message from someone saying, hey, that's kind of funny. My company's
We're not
not
on
on there.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's part of it. Or you've categorized one company over here because that's primarily what it does, but it also sits over on this side of the table too. I mean, there's a lot of that exists.
Yeah, this is very, very true.
All right, some other quick things here. It was National Property Managers Day this week. Saw huge trends in it, people shouting it out, doing things for their teams, owners, operators, vendors, all kind of celebrated it. It was the most I've seen as long as I've known about
This
the
is
holiday,
true.
which has been
Started
great.
by MRI, of course.
Yeah, they did start it by MRI, but now other people. It's a
catching
holiday for
on.
everyone.
Yes, this is good. This is how it works,
And
right? I mean, you start a national holiday, it catches fire. Yeah.
yes. So today is a national holiday. Now, I don't know who started it, but it's Johnny Appleseed Day. For those of us up north and East Coast, Johnny Appleseed was a big deal. Traveled from upstate New York all the way through the Midwest, dropping apple seeds. It's one of those American folklore tales. It's also, Eric, this is of particular interest to you. It's National Compliance Officer Day.
Oh, yes.
Notice I said it's not talk like a national. It's not talk like an office compliance person. It's just National Office Compliance Day. So yeah.
I do not comply with this. Yes.
No, sorry. It's just the way it is. There's upcoming conferences coming through the feeds. OpTech Inspire 2025. That's the Florida Apartment Association. And also MF Executive Conference in Phoenix. It's also in November. Plus a whole bunch of other stuff. But we're going to try to keep it short so we can talk about another conference.
Yes, this is true. We did. Well, technically, we're here today doing a major recap of the Blueprint Conference. We were able to relax a little bit. compose ourselves and actually listen and talk with some folks who went to Blueprint. I think the biggest challenge for me going to Blueprint is there's only so much one person can do at a conference like this. You can't be in all of the rooms, you can't be in all the conversations. So what
No.
did we do? We talked with a bunch of folks who did it.
Yeah.
And
I'm still here. I'm still waiting.
you're
I'm
still
still trying to ask
you're
people what's
still trying
going
to
on. I'm
leave?
still at the
Yeah.
conference.
Well, I,
Yeah,
you know,
I got my water bottle.
I'm
I'm, I'm in some hotel. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness! I'm sure as long
Still
as you don't
there.
feel like Martin. I think Martin. This is a live shot, as live as we can
uh,
get it. No thanks to GPTs.
he didn't make it out of
He didn't.
Vegas
Yeah,
either,
he's
huh?
just he's
That's too
just sitting
bad.
there, just god awful sunburned. It takes a lot to put on
Yeah.
events like this. So kudos to Martin and his team for putting on, what I think is one of the top real estate events in the country, if not the world.
Yeah. So here we're going to dig right into it. The 3 R's of Blueprint for us. We're going to do some recaps. We're going to talk about the roundtables, and we're also going to talk about the robots because there were definitely robots at this conference. I actually I went around, Eric. I got a few pictures of some of them. Um, here was one group. Uh, excellent, excellent dialogue. If you missed this session, you kind of missed out. I snagged another one as I was like walking by here.
I think I've seen that one before.
Yeah,
Was this at another conference? No.
and, and then this session, it was pretty intense. Innovation in annihilation. I wouldn't recommend it, but
That was a commercial
it was pretty
commercial
good.
real estate track, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, there were robots. I did actually get video of some robots. This right here is Donna. That Donna's made by the Irish Innovation Folks in North Carolina. She might be able to be more hospitality, like package delivery, doing things. This robot is all like to take over maintenance tasks, like monotonous maintenance tasks. And then I don't know what the hell this robot is. Do you know what it
Robot
is?
security dog?
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what it
Yeah.
is. Maybe. Fetch isn't launching anything, are
No,
they?
I don't think so.
That we
Although there
okay.
was a robot that I got to ride in. Yeah,
Oh,
pretty cool.
You're going
I
to be
think.
able to just say, go to Stanford Shopping Center, go to Walmart, go to wherever. And when it arrives, it'll arrive to our open curb platform. That checks your car in. It tells that business that your car is there seamlessly so that your order can be delivered to you. Pat's car arrived. Then what we do is we pop the trunk programmatically. Then the restaurant person comes out, puts the order in the trunk, closes the trunk, which then triggers the GPS to send the next nav instructions to go back to wherever you want it to go, whether it's your house, your work, or whatever.
that's really cool.
Yeah, so that just a recap on that. I took an autonomous vehicle ride, which a lot of us have done before. But what AutoLane is doing, and that was the CEO Ben. What AutoLane is doing is essentially using autonomous vehicles to go off and do errands, like pick up laundry, groceries,
Nice.
and then
Yeah.
drive them back. So
It's that hospitality thing, right? It's like that. I think that's the one of the things that we definitely have heard
I
a couple
think this
times.
kind of goes into. We'll talk about Brad Hargraves here in a little bit, but last year at Retsy at Optech, Brad Hargraves is talking about the fact that autonomous vehicles will very much so change multifamily in respects to how we construct new buildings, the sidewalks, the need for parking. And I think this just goes into
Right.
play even more into like the daily thing where it's like, why have parking lots right there on site where you can have an autonomous vehicle drive the stuff that you want up to you? It drops it off in
Right.
your hands and then it goes and parks somewhere else
Right.
where parking's cheaper. And then you can call upon your car when
Right.
you
I
need
mean,
it.
we see them in Atlanta, like the little robot couriers that are dropping food off most of the time. I think maybe some other things, but they're all over the
You
Beltline.
haven't seen one get
I see them all the time.
held up yet, have you?
Yes, not by the inner city Atlanta thugs, but yeah, they curbs. Yes, I've seen some toppled over, some stuck. Um, So it's not a perfect thing like any technology, but
Some
pretty
kinks to
cool
work
stuff.
through for sure. But there are some major recaps that were done, and we did pay attention to those. So our good friend Sarah Graham, who's been on the show before, talked about how AI agents execute, but it's really humans who decide what matters. And for her, she said the real risk is disconnection, right? Not AI itself. And she said,
Yeah.
quote, AI handles the noise, but humans elevate the signal. And I thought that was a pretty interesting quote from her.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of different thoughts about sort of the humanity or the kind of what the other side of tech is. Roland Hobbs had something similar. He was standing in the Starbucks line at Blueprint, which became a metaphor for tech without authenticity. And so he was really kind of reminded that renters remember the experiences, not the platforms, and so he kind of finally just relaxed and enjoyed his coffee. He said that tech is the infrastructure, connection is still the outcome, which is kind of exactly what Sarah was saying, which is you don't want disconnection, right? That's the risk. You want connection.
Yeah. Christy Fickert talked about how housing is a $2 trillion industry with no true consumer brand. She also said that change management and collaboration matter more than shiny objects. I could agree to that very much so. Basically, her quote was that change management beats shiny objects. Back your early adopters.
Yeah. And your boy Brad, what was his? What
So
did he talk
Brad,
about?
more on the investor side, was talking about how seed capital is flowing again. It seems to be flowing, compared to last year. There was still a lot of talk of like things like dry powder, but I think the rivers and lakes that we're used to are starting to open up again. But it's late stage deals are really commanding more of the traction there. And then cash flow is the new
Yes.
priority over EBITDA. So if you got cash
Right.
flow, you're rocking and rolling. Basically, Brad said it's not 2022 anymore. The market is rewarding real business models.
Yeah. Now, what LinkedIn thought influencer said? Real estate moves fast. If you miss the moment, the deal dies.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Me,
You do
me,
know.
you.
No, you sourced this
Oh,
story. Who's
not.
next on the list?
I should read my own notes. Is what you're saying? Oh,
I like to
I'm
keep. I like to
I'm
keep
so
things
glad it's
fresh.
Friday.
Me too.
Najla Kayam, who I recently found on the interwebs, talked about how real estate moves fast. Miss the moment, and the deal dies. Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense. AI is transforming
exactly.
sales, right? Job sites, resilience.
Yeah, yeah, all of it. And now we did. We'll have our own recap here. But you actually, when you were a little sharper, a little more spring in your step, you sat down with somebody and had and helped her through a recap where she was sharing kind of her
That's right. Yeah,
insights.
we I had a conversation with Jen Tyndall a little bit earlier, and we're gonna post the entire interview on our YouTube channel. So feel free to hop over there, and you'll be able to see it. But we'll go ahead and play just a couple brief clips, and then we'll finish up the show. Enjoy.
Awesome.
So, Jen, I did not have the greatest chance to learn more about you while we were. So you know a lot about mergers and acquisitions and partnerships. I'm curious, what were you hearing? Because I mean, Grace Hill has been on a tear of its own, right? Of acquiring companies. What were you hearing while you were at Blueprint?
I imagine some of the same things you were, and I want to hear what you heard too. It is the rumor mill. That is how I would describe Blueprint, but that's what makes it fun is people like to talk and understand what everyone else is thinking, what's going on. And what I heard was that a lot of larger, later stage, growth stage, and later companies are looking to merge or be acquired, potentially some deal activity themselves acquire as well. So that was very interesting. Like I said, the early stage, the very early stage, pre-seed, angel, not as much interest and activity going on there. I think people are still a little bit burned from years prior. But that said, there is a little window in there if your company has AI in the title. I don't know if I saw a startup there that didn't have AI in the title or in the tagline. And I know you're rolling your eyes, but oh my God, people are just throwing money and it's not the typical prop tech VCs doing it. And I think mystery shopping AI is only going to be, well, mystery shopping as we call it in multifamily, but of AI is only becoming more and more prominent because there's a need for it. Like you said, you don't know what you're going to get, and that can be really risky whenever you're talking about customers. I will say that we partner with Elise AI, and from all of the referral calls that I did, because we do vet any of our prospective partners, all of the feedback was that even if they're making a mistake, let's say, it was high quality enough of a conversation that the AI was able to recover quickly. So I do think that there are tools out there that are quite good. I did hear at Blueprint, and I'm curious because I saw a comment on, or a post that you did on LinkedIn talking about AI and the different products and how some products are better than others, but they may not have the crowd appeal that others have. And I do think that is especially relevant to that like leasing bot conversation because Elise AI, I think, has the market on it now, even though there are arguably other bots out there that are quite good. They were just first to market, and that can be an advantage in
agree.
multifamily. So I loved your post.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that's a challenge. Even at the end of the day, it's the second mouse gets the cheese typically, where you might be the first, but then you're the first one to fall on the sword, right? You're making these massive mistakes. Sometimes with enterprise customers, you lose trust. Those customers churn, and where do they go? The person right behind you who's been learning from your mistakes, right? And they're ultimately able to craft something better. Not always the case, but I mean, this oftentimes reference Apple computers is like, hey, Apple didn't invent the computer. They just sort of made like a better graphic user interface and curated it towards designers versus, people who are sticking to Excel all day long. And they cornered the market inside of education and creatives and then just built it up from there. And it worked quite well.
It did work quite well. There's a lot of use cases and there is a top-down approach to implementing AI at your organization. There could also be a bottoms-up. This was one of the topics that we debated on our panel. And I don't know that I can crown someone a winner of that debate because both sides had very good arguments. But for the top-down approach that I think you're talking about, I can see the benefit to that, especially because, as we all know, AI hallucinates and it can cause lots of issues or it can cause a lot of frustration, to your point. And if you don't have the proper protocols and controls in place, it's going to be difficult for a lot of people. But that said, I mean, Ann Hollander, who was one of our panelists, she's got the buzziest title in the world, the buzziest buzzword title. I was teasing her. I think her title's like Chief AI Strategy Officer at Wynn Residential. And she was saying that her first few weeks there, her goal was to go through all of these use cases, literally hundreds of use cases, and identify which ones could be improved with AI. And all but one of them, she was like, yeah, AI could definitely help improve these processes. It's just, to your point, it's improving them, but we want to avoid the like PTSD from a phone tree type issue. Like, how can we improve it to the point where it's seamless and people are happy with the experience?
Well, and to that point, there's already companies that exist that will look into that. They literally check behind the AI to make sure the experience on the customer side is accurate, not going against any policies, right? Because there's just so many gaps, right? There's no static structure to the output, right? And that's the challenge is you can have the same input and get a completely different output with AI, depending on time of day, who's asking, what data. If you already know that customer, right? If you're pulling data and know that customer or that prospect, the output might be completely different.
Right. Yes. And I think mystery shopping AI is only going to be, well, mystery shopping as we call it in multifamily, but of AI is only become more and more prominent because there's a need for it. Like you said, you don't know what you're going to get, and that can be really risky whenever you're talking about customers.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate the words. If you want to catch the rest of that recap, you can go online. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice to hear those conversations, and that's just one of like so many conversations, one vantage point. I mean, I think someone at Grace Hill is sitting in a very interesting, unique spot to be able to see the ways things are implemented in all these different companies. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed this format. So maybe we need to start breaking off and interviewing people and pulling it back in. I kind of like that, Eric.
Well,
I do want to bring up an issue I have.
Too many cooks? What? How many?
Too many roundtables. Too many roundtables at Blueprint. I know I don't want to offend you personally, but look. Okay, so here's an example. You see, there's like one right there, like the full room of them. There they are. Like they're even in like they're even in the trade show. There's one right there. People are using it for workstations, and even in the main event space. I mean, is it really hard to find like a square table? I think I saw a few rectangle tables like for some food or something like that. But I mean, does anyone think about putting like a longer like banquet style table so everyone can sit in more of an? I mean, are we always doing round tables? Always?
I don't know, man. I think it's I think roundtables are just the in thing, right? I mean, the same way, design goes in and out. Maybe that's what it is.
I guess so. I mean, you hosted a round table, which I got to sit in. And what did you think? I sat in on a couple other ones, but what did you think of the ones that you
I did.
led or
I did, yeah.
participated in?
My roundtable was talking about employee retention inside of multifamily. In general, we talked a little bit about how multifamily needs to do a better job as a whole of attracting and retaining, talent. There's so many stories that we always hear of where people fell into multifamily. It was never the number one choice, right? The number one choices are like doctor, lawyer, basketball player, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Great, aspiring careers. Why is multifamily never a part of that? Why is it like, young people growing up never aspire to be maintenance supervisor or, property manager, regional property manager, right? Like, why is that
Right.
not a thing?
Yeah, I think one thing that, the to that point specifically, right? We're so used to building something, right? I'll be a builder. I'll design a building. I'll be an architect, but it's the operation of it, right? The execution of how it exists often gets, kind of buried for sure for this career and probably other careers as well. It's just sort of, it's easier to see a final result of something tangible than something that's more non-tangible, because even though you're dealing with real estate and you're taking care of it, the product is really the revenue and the people that want to buy a home or rent a home. Like that's what and so it's a different thing to track.
That's a great point. And part of the challenge is it can feel like a thankless job depending on, where you are on the totem pole, right? I mean, you can have residents yelling at you. You could have residents giving you hugs. You could have people crying as they leave the apartment after living there for 5, 6, 7 years, going through all the stages of life, right? Like being single, finding a mate, and then going off getting married and having kids. Like if that's your trajectory, right? Like that's an incredible thing that we're able to see happen throughout the lifespan of someone renting, oftentimes inside of these communities. And it's incredible to be there, but why are we not why are we not putting that on a pedestal and saying, hey, this is a great career? It pays well. You learn a lot. There's new challenges every day. Yeah, sure, every once in a while you might get screamed at by a crazy resident, but like that's not
Right.
every day.
Yeah. No, it was a fascinating discussion, and for my kind of one of my final thoughts on it, I actually loved the roundtables, the discussion part. I could use a few more shapes in the way that I sit around people, but the actual discussion part was great. What I liked was the kind of the diversity that I the people that I met, not just at the roundtables, but all throughout the conference. You met salespeople, investor people, operator people, single family resident, small owners, big owners. Like it was, I enjoy talking and just randomly, authentically talking to people that I don't always get to talk to at conference because I'm so focused on connecting with my list,
Yeah.
or my ideal list. So I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite experiences was bumping into someone from Japan who was coming over to like learn how to invest in multifamily real estate here in the US. That's
Yeah.
incredible. You don't always get that.
No, those small stories. Like my favorite experience was somebody that managed maybe 60 units in multiple houses right around the sketchy area of Las Vegas, family owned. And it was a fascinating
Yeah.
conversation.
Still, the same types of issues that we experience in larger communities, right? Still the same challenges there, managing 60 units. It's just the scale is different, like 60, 600, 6,000, 60,000.
Yeah, and some of the socioeconomical things that were different. Whereas like security was a big piece. So one of the biggest ways that they could do a value add to the property was just install gates and fences around the properties. So therefore, if I work in the casino, if I work at this restaurant, I can go to work, live really nearby, and know that my stuff's going to be safe because in other parts where I've lived before, it hasn't been. So it was just a fascinating
Great
conversation.
points. Well, shall we finish this Friday off with a nice moment?
Yeah, I'm gonna. No, I've been walking around trying to get people to beep on my button, but no. I guess
Don't,
it's
yeah.
over. Is it? Are we
I think
done?
it's done until next year. Don't try not to cast that in as a chip.
Okay.
Like it's not worth anything now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not okay. So I guess I'll pack it up. We'll say goodbye, happy weekend, and let's end with a moment of wonder.